All right, we're going to talk about Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. We just got out of the theater. That's right. Yeah, we went to the early access session, and so we're going to talk about it. No spoilers, of course, but wow, we're going to see what we think. Here we go.
And the bonus on the early access is we got posters.
Yeah, look at that.
That's awesome.
Got that.
That's
and
awesome.
Wait a minute, I don't know. Did you get this? We got.
No, I didn't get
Mission.
that. I didn't get that.
Oh my God! We're official. At least I am. I'm an official IMF member here because that's a pin.
They didn't give me.
They don't give those to everybody, you know.
Yeah, well, they didn't give them to me and my wife. So.
Hey, yeah. There you go.
All right, so we just went and saw this thing, Dan, and we literally just got back. We both got back and hopped on, and we're going to give it. And we thought we'd give a first impression. So, I mean, overall, Dan. I mean, overall, did you like it?
Overall, it's a very good movie. I think you're a spy movie fan. You got to go see it. Of course, if you're a Mission Impossible fan, well, it's impossible not to go see it. And there is plenty in it that you will like. I'm going to say that. There's some stuff in there I would have cut a little. But overall, I think if you like action movies, because this is nonstop action. I saw it in Dolby Stereo with the shake seats and surround sound and moving sound. And you're moving quite a bit. The entire movie. It's nonstop action. I think you're going to get, maybe you get 3 breathers in the 2 hours and 43 minutes that this movie runs.
Same as No Time to Die.
Oh man, okay. I could relax a little bit here. And they do sprinkle a little humor in some of the tenser scenes so that, you could take a little break and say, okay. It's not that tense, but it is. I don't know.
Yeah, see, for me, I actually really, really liked this one. I mean, I thought it was much better than Fallout. I mean, I didn't really particularly care that much for Fallout.
Okay.
It was as long as No Time to Die, but it didn't feel like it.
Yeah, it didn't feel that long. I think the same thing too. It wasn't like dragging where you're thinking, what the heck? This should be over by now.
Yeah, my biggest issue with this movie was they gave away so much of the cool stuff in the trailer. Before we saw this movie, now I don't know if it was just because we were there for early access or not, Dan, but for you, I'm sure they did the same thing. They showed a trailer for the movie, and they had something where there was like some interview or Christopher McQuarrie was talking, and they're showing you parts of what's going to be in the movie, and then you see the movie.
At the movie, yeah, I know. I mean, we've seen it before anyway. It's everywhere, right? It's all over the internet. How they did the stunt to him with the motorcycle. Everybody has seen that. And it does take a little bit away from the movie. So I think they showed too much ahead of time, even with the stunts. And there's several stunts in this movie.
Yeah, that's my biggest complaint is that, that motorcycle jump, if you didn't know it was coming, that would have been so cool.
Yeah.
And
know how it was coming and how they did it.
Yeah.
Because they showed you all that.
Yeah. Before you see the movie.
A long time ago they showed us that.
Put that on the extras on the DVD.
Yeah, exactly. Don't show us how you did one of the major stunts in the movie. So, but the stunt in the movie is spectacular, and it's. I mean, it looks terrific, right? The cinematography was terrific. Of course, the casting was terrific. I mean, there was a lot of good stuff in this movie, and overall, I liked it a lot. And I like Mission Impossible. I like their series. I even liked Mission Impossible 2. So there you go. But this one is it's over the top in terms of action. So that is pretty amazing. But you don't really get much of a break, like we said.
No, you don't. Now the thing is, so like if we think about the pre-title sequence.
Yeah.
And my wife, who doesn't like these movies at all normally, she came out of that and she liked this one better than Fallout.
The pre-title sequence in this one is spectacular.
She really liked the pre-title here. And,
it's spectacular. Yeah. It's one of the best pre-titles done.
Yeah.
And it's pretty long. I didn't time it because it was dark.
Was your theater full?
It was pretty full. It was so well. I mean, the theater was so great because it had the comfy seats and the flip up seats and everything else, and so you couldn't see another head anywhere. That's how. So you couldn't really see all the people below you or behind you or whatever because of the way it's structured. So it was full though. There was a lot of people coming out of there. So yeah,
Yeah.
it
See,
was full. People were. There were some chuckles during the movie when some things were said out loud, chuckling from the audience. So the things they wanted to work that were humorous, the audience picked up on and went with it.
yeah.
But you got everything in here, right? And they do reference back to some Mission Impossible movies before.
And there's some tiebacks to James Bond that we'll talk about here in just a second.
But, yeah, and then of course you got a couple of chase scenes.
Yeah. But a lot of that, they told you how they did it right before they showed you the movie, which took some of the edge off of that.
There's a nice horse chase scene, which is kind of a car chase scene. People have seen clips of the car chase scene in Rome, of course, and McQuarrie has talked about this publicly already. So we're not spoiling anything here, but the car chase scene in Rome really made Spectre's car chase scene in Rome look like a three-legged potato sack race. I mean, it's just like
throughout the movie, they used the locations they went to, and they used them well. So you got multiple shots of the Colosseum or the Vatican or whatever. It was, you could tell where you were, and they used the area, and the score worked with the different places they were at.
Yeah, the score was tremendous.
Yeah.
And the music in general, tremendous throughout the movie. And they take you, all over the place, right? You go from the Arctic to Abu Dhabi and the Arabian Desert. You go to Rome. You go to Venice. You go to a lot of places. In Venice, they were at the Doji Palace. The Doji Palace. I've been to the Doji Palace, and they did use the location areas extremely well. They actually used them.
Yeah.
And that was pretty well done.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Now, another thing, we talked about that we really like the pre-title. The title sequence had all those little snippets in it. Now, granted, a lot of the snippets we'd already seen from the trailer, but they were there. And, we've mentioned before, or at least I've mentioned before, how much I like seeing the snippets in the title sequence. So it was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool.
And I think because we waited such a long time, I think 2015 was the last one, right? So, I mean, we waited a while, and COVID certainly interfered with all of that. But I think it's probably why they put a lot out in the trailers to get, kind of pique interest and keep it going. But man, you're right, though. It was a lot revealed in the trailers. And a lot of times you don't see a lot revealed in the trailers. I think No Time to Die did a better job on the trailers in not revealing some stuff than here.
Okay, the movie's 163 minutes, right? So the trailer's only 2.5 minutes of it. So if the trailer gave away a lot of the good stuff, what was the rest?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, okay, they want to pique your interest in the trailer. Yeah. Okay, yeah, but okay. We've said enough on the trailer stuff and whatever. Yeah. But I think let's move on.
Well, and the thing is, there's enough in this plot. Again, we aren't going to give any spoilers here. There's a MacGuffin, but unlike the MacGuffin in MI3, which was the rabbit's foot, which you never knew what it was, here this MacGuffin comes up a lot, and you know exactly what it's for. And so I liked that. It was an important part of the movie, and I thought they used it well.
Yeah, the MacGuffin here is explained numerous times of what it is for. So you're right. There's no question that this MacGuffin is important, and we know why it's important in the movie. That's good. And there is a lot of interchange among the characters, I'll just say, that I thought, okay, wow. And there were a couple of scenes I thought were too long that they could have cut. and one of them is a train scene. I think one went on a little longer than it should have gone on. But overall, you're watching the thing, and you're never waiting for something to happen. You're never wondering, oh well, it's kind of boring. Wonder what's going to happen next. No, I mean it is flowing and rolling, and the music is tremendous with it, and well done. So you have to see it. I mean,
I agree.
It's a damn good movie.
Yeah.
And
you have to have a
like
train scene. You have to have a train scene. It's a spy movie.
Yeah, I mean, there's many throwbacks from the train scene from all the way back to the 39 steps, really. But there's a lot of action, a lot of chases, and again some references back to other movies, and including Mission Impossible and Bond.
Well,
so let's get to some.
One of them is that motorcycle jump.
Yeah.
Forget they gave it away. It's a hell of a stunt, but it's just a derivation on what they did in The Spy Who Loved Me. Right? In The Spy Who Loved Me, they ski off the mountain and open a parachute. Right. Here, he rides a motorcycle.
It was not only that. They replicated another part of that jump in The Spy Who Loved Me when he went off the mountain. And I don't know if I should say or not, but you'll notice the music is very intense.
Yep.
And then not so much.
Yep. Well, we've talked in the past about the use of silence in Mission Impossible and other movies, and there's some of that in here. They
replicated it from the Spy Who Loved Me, for sure. And then, of course, the motorcycle. There's other motorcycle jumps in other movies. The Grand Bazaar with Craig jumping. And they did their own version of the stunts, and nobody does stunts, I don't think, better than Mission Impossible.
Yep.
I mean, they're damn good at doing stunts, and they put it out there. Well, and Cruise said, I want to make people feel that extra effort we're making here, and they do. Cubby Rocky said, hey, leave it all on the screen, put the money on the screen. They spend money and they put it on the screen. The sound effects, they should win awards for sound effects. The sound effects were fabulous.
Yeah. Well, and I loved the use of the little yellow Fiat. Right. So they have.
Yeah. I mean,
you've seen A Born Identity. You saw it in
For Your Eyes Only.
Yeah. So you had those two movies where they had the kind of small little beater car that's tricked up or in some cases wasn't tricked up, but they used it. But one thing I really liked is, just like with the motorcycle jump being a different take on the ski jump, that little Fiat does something that we saw in both of those other movies, but differently. Right? Yeah. And again, I don't want to give away what it was. And it was really cool.
They take it to another level. There's really nothing. There's no other movie that does stunts like Mission Impossible. Yeah. I mean, if you like stunts, you're in heaven in Mission Impossible. And in this one, it goes on and on and on. I mean, one scene after another is just tremendous. And even the gunshots, that sound effect was, I think, the best in this movie than I've heard in any other movie.
Really? Okay.
That's how good the sound effects were. They should win an award for that.
Yeah. Now, another callback to James Bond. I guess I'm not really spoiling it because it comes out of nowhere. There's a guy in a case, and they open the case, and he's got a mask on. He's breathing oxygen.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where did we say that one before?
You only live twice. Permission to come aboard, sir.
Yeah. So it was a different use of it again, but it was there. And again,
it was there.
And I don't think that's a spoiler because it literally comes out of nowhere. So
yeah. I mean, it's a minor piece, but it's there. And there was another one. I think another callback to maybe GoldenEye. And I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to think if Mission Impossible really respects James Bond and the entity and Eon from making movies from 1962 to now, and that's why they're giving a little homage to them, or or they're just doing it to say, hey, we could do it, and we could do it better. I don't know which it is, but there was another one where someone was getting choked
Yeah.
with legs.
Yep. Yeah. So little bits like that. Now, one thing I did miss in this movie, I really
Okay.
like the character of Luther Stickle, and they seem to have really pulled back on his use lately in the movies. And I'm not exactly sure why. Because he was in the movie, then all of a sudden he's like, well, I've got to go do this, and you never saw him again for like the second half of the movie. So I don't know if
Yeah.
there was what the deal with that is, but for Ving Rhames playing that character, I just totally love that character, and he's he can be serious and he can be funny, at a flip of a switch, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's good. He's perfect in that role. And yeah, he does go kind of off the grid there.
Yeah.
And then, even Simon Pegg, Benji, he had probably a pretty substantial role, and he had some great lines he delivers. I mean, he's terrific at delivering lines that you're going to smile at
Yes. Well, I
least.
mean, he's a comedian. I mean, he knows how to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So
So he knows how to do that. He's very good at doing that. And he's got the great facial expressions too to go along with it.
Right.
So he's perfect for that.
Yeah.
So that was great. And I think every other character in there was well done, was well played.
Well,
The casting has been tremendous, I think, in general
yeah.
for Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah, and you look at they brought Kittredge back. That's not a spoiler. That's been out for a long time, so I feel fine with that.
Yeah.
Right. But then you've got Shea Wiggum, Greg Tarzan Davis, Pom Clemente, Carrie Elwes, Hallie Atwell. I mean, all really good actors
Yeah.
who did very well. I mean, Pom's role I thought was a little bit weird, but I think she was designed to be weird. But other than that,
Yeah. Well, you definitely, yes, I think so.
and
I think designed to be that way. Yeah.
But I really like Carrie Elwes in this movie because it's not a huge part, but he plays that kind of character so well.
Yeah. I think every character was well done. You can't really point to even the minor characters. These supporting actors were very good at what they were doing.
Yes.
In whatever role they had,
Yep.
it was well done.
Yeah.
And you could see Cruise's insistence on excellence in the movie because it's well done.
Yes.
It's just there is nothing that's not well done.
Yeah.
You may say it's too long, like I said, a couple of scenes are too long, but you cannot say it's not well done because everything, like I said, the cinematography, the train scenes towards the end too are terrific.
Yep.
It's just excellent cinematography and sound effects and acting. It's like what else do you need? I mean, and you got a good story.
Well, and
it's not a crazy story. It's not a story that we'd say, oh, well, it's never been done before, because there's variations to this, right? I mean,
well, and you also have to like that they do take the Orient Express train from, and I believe it was Venice to Innsbruck, and I've done that route on that train. So
yeah. There you go. So I mean, there's a lot of it. They use the locales well, like you said.
Yeah.
All of the locations they used really well, and you get to see it. And it's not like, oh, I got to show you the Coliseum, and there's a shot. It was part of the story, which was well done.
Yeah, it's in the shot when they're doing a chase or whatever. So yeah, I thought that was really good. Okay, so we want to keep these things relatively short. We want to make this a no spoiler first impression. So it sounds like, Dan, you and I have slightly different first impressions on this movie. It sounds like you liked it, but you have some reservations.
No, I mean, I like it. I'm not going to say it's the best movie I've ever seen in my life, as Casablanca is, but it's a damn good movie. I do like it, and I would recommend that you go see it because Tom Cruise should be very proud of this movie and his whole group because it is well executed.
Yep.
So I like it. So
I like it too. Now,
I mean, you like
the one thing that we have to talk about is this is part one.
Yes.
And I kept sitting there going, like, how are they going to set up part two? And how are they going to set up part two? And And amazingly, it was a fairly easy setup. So
I generally do not like two-part or multi-part movies where you got to wait a year to see or more to see
with the writer's strike,
part.
yeah.
Yeah, who knows when we'll see the second part. But I did think the same thing you're just saying now is that they did an excellent job of ending part one.
Yeah. And for those of you who care about these things, there was no end credit scene. My wife was like, "Are we done?" And we're just sitting there. I'm like, "Well, we got to see if they stick something at the end because and I hate it when movies do that, and especially when they do it way at the end." But
yeah. Well, that's what No Time to Die did.
Yeah. Did you stay for the full ending credits?
Yeah, I was there. Yeah, I was there for it, but there was nothing.
Right.
Yeah, nothing to see.
Right. That was it. So for those of
credits
you
rolled and,
for those of you who are only stay for the credits to see the end credit, you don't need to do it. If you want to see the credit screens because you want to see who worked on it, they're there.
There you go.
And there's a lot of people. But
and you get good music during it.
So all right. So I think that for this one, I think we both like the movie. And if you're a spy fan, definitely our first reaction is go ahead and see it. And it's one, unlike No Time to Die, I'll have no problem going again and seeing. I may want to go see it in a standard seating or a standard theater instead of IMAX. I enjoyed it.
You saw it IMAX. I saw it with the motion sound. And so that was a little different.
Yeah.
But I didn't mind it, actually, because it kind of brought you into the movie a little bit. But go see the movie. It's a damn good movie. And Cruise did a good job. Way to go, Tom.
Way to go, Tom.
So that's a wrap of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 and our initial reaction.
All right, so this has been Tom
and Dan
of SpyMovieNavigator.com on our show, Cracking the Code of Spy Movies. Subscribe to our show through your favorite podcast app and help us out by giving us a 5-star rating. That really helps us. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you spending time with us.